What's that? The awkward cameraman stuff? That's me. Welcome back to the Dirthead Shed. This is like the remote location edition. We are over at Cameron's house, and we're gonna check out his new ride.
Yeah.
Check that thing out.
Trucks.
We're playing trucks. Cameron was like, Louis Vuitton is so neat. I really want my own, but I don't like Fords or gas engines, so.
Oh, what? I like Fords and gas engines.
Let's go check this thing out. He's about to start a huge build on this thing, so we got to do a little bit of an intro on it, figure out why he bought the rig he bought. I love the color of it, and I like Dodge trucks. I think he made a good choice. Let's go see what he got. I don't know if you know this, but he always has a different vehicle. It's like every 6 months we have a different.
from this guy.
Oh my gosh, I haven't been that bad lately. Anyways, Cameron sold the FJ60. Boo.
Yeah, that was a big L.
What else did you sell recently?
I sold Ron.
Oh yeah, the Tundra, which I'm totally okay with. I didn't like that truck. A lot of people did, but I was like, it's cool, but it's not like ultra cool. So I feel like the new rig is pretty awesome. Cameron picked up a 2012 Cummins truck. It's a 2500 Ram. So these things are awesome. I had an 05 quad cab one that I absolutely loved, and I let it go. So I think this one might be it's gonna be a rad truck. What are you doing to it?
Yeah, so kind of like the whole backstory on this whole thing is sold the red truck, Tundra, because I really needed something to actually do truck stuff. The red truck was kind of a half ton, and if I put anything heavier than a 2x4 in it, it would sag out. So hauling snowmobiles, dirt bikes, gravel, you name it, I kind of needed a big truck to do big truck things. So yeah. Pick this gem up locally. It's a, like Dave said, 2012 Ram, 2500 Cummins, 6-speed,
yeah,
which I'm really stoked on that. And yeah, through Louis Vuitton and everything else, I wanted to be on the regular cab life. So we've got suspension, long arm suspension, big tires, bumpers. We got a sled deck going in on the back.
Yeah. So
this thing should be pretty cool when it's all whipped up.
Yeah, that was kind of my inspiration too. Like I wanted a standard cab long bed. I didn't want to bob it and make it super short. That's why Louis Vuitton's all banged up, because the thing's got all this overhang. He actually just moved into this house and is like remodeling and building it and fixing up the old shop that it had. So it's pretty neat that he's actually got a truck now that can haul stuff. We're going to make sure that the suspension kit doesn't hinder that. And then the other thing is he's all into snowmobiles for some reason. I guess when you live here, you got to figure out how to have fun in all seasons. So,
yep, that's right.
there should be a whole lot of snowmobile influence on the channel from here on out, because I'm gonna get hooked, I'm sure. So anywho, he is about to go tear into doing a sled deck on the back. That's basically an overlander rack for people that ride snow machines.
Yep.
So he's gonna get that in the shop, start tearing into that, get it done, and then we're gonna bring it over to my shop. We're gonna do a whole bunch of suspension work, make the thing look cool, and fit big giant tires.
Pretty stoked to start off this episode in my shop. So what we're doing here is we're throwing a sled deck on this guy, pretty cool. I'm throwing a Truck Boss on here. Something that's really cool about Truck Boss sled decks is it's actually weather sealed. So with this thing being a regular cab, I'll be able to put camera gear, put skis, put whatever in the bed and be able to keep it dry, because I obviously can't put a whole lot of stuff in that cab. So Truck Boss's sled deck is totally weather sealed, unlike a lot of decks out there. Other thing that's really cool is I won't just be using it for snowmobiles. I'll actually be able to put it up on the deck with adventure bikes, dirt bikes. If you have Sea-Doos, quads, you name it, it's all designed to work with this sled deck. It's not just a winter program, so I'm looking forward to running this guy a bit in the summer months. I'll be able to put plywood, you name it, go to Home Depot, still have underbed storage, but keep it all weather tight, and we'll be good to go. the home stretch here. Lots of bolts, lots of anti-seize. I'm not going to talk about that because we've been talking about that a lot, so no one cares anymore. We're about to slam home the last slide into the side of the bed here. It's been a long day. It's been fun though. It's really cool to see this thing transform. We're going to get this extension. I'm totally butchering the exact technical term of it, but to extend it out so we can run 2 sleds on this thing. It's all wired, ready to go for marker lights. Let's slam this piece home. Wrapping up the last little bit here. Carbides are all sent home. Looking good. As you can see, if you're just doing one sled, the skis will go up on either side on the big side. If you're doing 2 sleds, one ski will go on the outside, one ski will go on the inside and drive on up, lock them all down. But man, this thing is looking like a unit.
Dude, truck looks good, Cam. You got the deck all on there?
Yeah, man.
This thing is not as giant as I was expecting. I was thinking it was going to be one of those ones that sits way out here.
Yeah, that's the thing that's cool is the sides actually extend out when it's time to haul 2 snowmobiles.
Radical. I dig it. You got all your lift kit and junk?
Yeah, it's currently a tire hauler.
It looks good.
Yeah, time to get it in the shop.
It's like 10 degrees out here, so let's get it in there.
I'm just gonna be camera guy, so you guys.
Cameron rolled in with a pile of parts. We have this weekend basically to get lift kit, wheels, and tires on this thing. And I didn't see a whole bunch of extra parts. Usually when Cameron shows up, it's like, oh yeah, dude, forgot, we're gonna install an igloo on the back of this thing, and like, oh, you gotta run this 120 volt generator so that we can hook up the air fryer. But no, this time it's actually just suspension, wheels, and tires. He did throw in like an airbag kit that I didn't know about.
Sorry.
But we'll get that in. Truck looks sick, dude. I like the rack that you put on it, snowmobile machine thing. It's gonna be a cool truck. Not as cool as the Louis Vuitton, but it'll be close. Look at the pile of parts. We have like a full-blown Carli. Yeah, I don't know which kit this is. Is this Unchained?
No, it's a pin top long arm.
Alright, so we got a Carli pin top long arm kit, which means it basically sort of reuses the design of the factory suspension. It's going to be coil springs and shocks. We end up cutting a whole bunch of stuff off the frame to put longer link arms on it. So it's a pretty rad kit, super nice parts. We're going to start unboxing it, cutting things off the truck. Parts are going to be flying everywhere. It's going to get good here pretty quick.
I've been running wild like a slaughter the flies. I am the thorn in the side, I got my sword in the sky. I'm from a different planet, I'm a quantum machine. I get results you can see, I flip the W on a W-E. It ain't no team without me, feel like a capital G. More like I'm a foreman, how they counting on me. More like I'm a doorman, how I'm holding the key. More like a proud lion, how I'm holding the sheep.
Basically what we're going to end up doing is pulling out the springs and shocks, pulling off this upper shock hat, and once we get that stuff out, then we can start like disassembling link arms, get that stuff out of the way. We'll have the axles supported with a transmission jack or something. And then we'll go in here and we'll start cutting and grinding off all the old bracketry. I think we're probably also going to do a sway bar on this thing. I don't know. Did you order a sway bar?
Yep, we got sway bars as well.
Alright, so it'll end up with a different sway bar and different sway bar links. So, yeah. Should be sort of straightforward. This upper shock design was only used for a handful of years, and it's kind of funky, but these trucks actually handle really good.
Yeah, we got control arms out. Gotta pull that bolt out, and then the lowers, which are the hard ones, are out. and the upper should come out pretty easy. So the big thing with this Carli kit is it has way longer link arms in the front, so you have to cut all these factory brackets off and bolt another big bracket back here so you have more space for your longer arms. These brackets are all welded on, kind of all over the place. The easiest way to cut them off is to cut them in half and then just knife each weld and try not to dig into the frame. Hammer them off, pry bars, chisels, air hammers, whatever you gotta do. Get them folded off of there, go back, clean everything up, make it look like it never happened, and get your big new brackets on. They have, I think they key into some factory holes in the frame, and then you do have to drill new holes through, put sleeves in, because they're a pretty hefty bracket, but they are a big job to do. So they're locating that front axle with them big links.
The new lift springs from Carli, and you can tell they're totally different than the original ones. The stock spring was kind of like fewer leaves and they're heavier, they're thicker springs. This one also has an overload, and then it has basically a lift block that's built into it. This is a good spring for what the truck was designed for. The new spring is going to give you a little bit more travel. Mainly it'll give you more droop, which is like your wheel travel downward. It's going to ride a little bit smoother because it's got more leaves that are thinner, and that's basically more of a progressive type of spring. So this should be a really good upgrade. It's also got urethane bushings and sleeves on each end so that it doesn't have to bind that vulcanized bushing like the stock one has. So this is a good upgrade. These are kind of spendy, but they seem like they're always worth the money you put into them. So good lift leaf springs. Should be good to go. Putting airbags on the back of this thing to help support some of the load for when he's got snowmobiles in the bed. But the aftermarket exhaust and the airbag mount were like, they both wanted to live in the same spot. So tailpipe's going to come out. I'm going to get the bag mounts fitted to the frame, and I got to do some cutting and grinding on both sides. We'll get those up in place and then kind of set it down later on and figure out if we can get a tailpipe back on it, or if it's got to go to the muffler shop. So it's coming together though. Little steps forward and then back. I think we did pretty good. Day one on the build, and we've got like the front suspension, most of the way, all the hard stuff seems to be done. We worked through some problems on the back with getting the airbag mounts on the frame and the exhaust being in the way. But I think we're doing good. It was one day of kind of cranking on this thing and getting going on it. Tomorrow we should be able to put this thing on its weight and see how it works. So pretty stoked. What do you think, Cam Dog?
I'm stoked. Yep, you guys crushed it today, and yeah, to get this thing on big wheels and tires is sweet. And then on to the next thing.
We going mudding this weekend? Sunday. I'm not working Sunday. We can go mudding.
I don't think you can get mud in 0-degree weather.
It is cold. It was like -4 today. All right, I'm gonna close up shop. We'll see you in the morning.
But if we did it all again, I wouldn't mind.
Day 2 vibes, Jesse. How are we feeling?
I'm tired. This maple bar is delicious.
I started a new band called the -9 because that's how cold it is outside. This is dumb. But we're in the shop and the heater's cranking. Cameron and Jesse rolled up this morning without breakfast burritos. It's kind of a rough morning. Cameron, what did you bring to the table today?
Hey, I brought muffins yesterday. Yep. Anyways, didn't know I needed to bring burritos. Not a good friend.
Yeah, day 2 on this build. We're gonna kick butt today. I think we just have to knock out everything else, and then Cameron's gonna drive this thing home tonight, so it's gonna be rad. I think I'm going to work on brake lines first, get those things all dialed in. What are you doing, Cam?
Filming you.
All right.
Filming me. Filming us.
Filming together. Jesse's cranking out the front on this thing. The links are in, and he's getting the shocks and springs out. This is kind of a cool setup where the shock is inside of the coil spring. Ford would run a shock outboard of the spring. Both get the same job done, but this is actually kind of cool because it keeps it in this compact location. It does make like mounting a little bit of a challenge, and when we're swapping over to the King shocks on this, Carli supplies a whole new top hat that converts it to using a loop style end instead of this that's a pin top style. Pretty cool setup. These things have been in there since new, I think. They did their job. The suspension's pretty much buttoned up. Jesse's doing brake hoses right now. We gotta bleed the brakes, slam some wheels on it, and it's good to go for now. But there's like bumpers and a winch and lights and stuff to happen still. So Cameron's gonna be waiting on parts for a few days, and then we will see you guys back when all that stuff shows up.
All right, guys, it's been a few weeks. We got a lot to talk about. Dave and Jesse and myself, more Dave and Jesse, knocked out the suspension on the truck. I got the sled deck on the truck. I've been enjoying it for a few months, but we've been waiting on some parts and some back order issues, and those parts finally showed up, which I'm super stoked about. Anyways, parts finally show up, and come to find out, I blew a head gasket. To be honest, I don't really know, but talking to a good friend of mine, Lenny Reed at Dynamite Diesel, he walked me through a bunch of different questions, and unfortunately I said yes to all of them, which leads him to believe that I've blown a head gasket in the truck. All is well though, because we're gonna get head studs, get the head machined, new gaskets, and we'll be all set.
I'm not stupid. I partied hard. I know what all this is from.
This morning we took the cylinder head off of Cam's truck. Tim was kind enough to wash the thing so we could get to it. And right now we're just taking some Scotch-Brite pad scrubbing this down by hand using WD-40, and we're going to get the surface clean so we can inspect it properly. I can already see that there's an impression where the cylinder head was walking and lifting. We're going to machine all that stuff out of here. Factory clearance on this is 2 thou like warp side to side and 3 thou front to rear. But I don't really like that, because even if this thing is completely flat, but when we see these grooves that the old head gasket has already left in there, no matter how straight it is, that groove is not going to apply enough pressure on the factory firing. So even if this thing was perfectly flat, which we're going to see it here in a few minutes that it's not perfectly flat, but even if it was, we wouldn't have any real pressure on the new head gasket right there. So yeah, that's where we're at right now, and we'll just keep going on it.
Corner to corner, and I'm going to check it in between the cylinders and at each cylinder, corner to corner. And if it's okay there and setting flat, I'm going to go down to about a 2 and see what we got here.
Tim just went through and checked it for cupping and for warpage, and Tim, she's good, huh?
She's good as far as warpage. We have some gasket imprint we're going to have to surface out.
This technically, per spec, this head would be usable again right now as is.
Correct.
We'd finish cleaning it, and per spec, since it's not even 2 thou warped.
No.
But we do have impressions where the gasket, when it was yielding, that gasket being such a hard material, it's worn its way into the cast iron on the cylinder head. So if we threw this on the motor with a brand new gasket and a set of ARP head studs, it's still going to leak, because we've still got all these grooves, which I can feel with finger.
Yeah.
So they're going to be fairly deep. But per spec, like if we was just to try and throw this back on today, we wouldn't do anything wrong per spec. But experience teaches us this thing would leak. So this is why we're about to chuck this up, and Tim's going to machine it for us. We're going to make one quick pass. We'll try and get, what, about a half thou out of that first pass?
Yeah.
And once we see that first half thou, we're going to see all the high and the lows in this that feeler gauges just can't find. This head's in great shape. Like, this is probably the best head I've ever brought to you.
Yep. Yep.
And because of that, it's not been hot, so we don't even have to mag flux it. There's not a crack on this head at all.
No visual problems.
We only ended up taking 3 thou total meat off this sucker.
Yep.
Valve recession is still within specification, so I can throw this in the truck. It's very critical at this point because surface finish. We want a really nice, clean surface finish to bite the MLS gasket, and we're going to use ARP fasteners to clamp it down. This thing failed because stock head bolts, a little bit of aftermarket tuning, not near enough clamp load, and it was just allowing the head to yield up. And it did wear some decent little grooves in the fire rings, but we've got that cleaned off. It's perfect. So, I mean, we're in great shape. We're going to throw this thing in the truck. We're going to head back. We're going to try and round up a gasket and all the rest of our peripheral gaskets that we need. And we're going to throw this thing back together and get Cam back on the road as fast as we can.
Truck is back in the shop. Really pumped to get this thing back from Dynamite Diesel. They did a bang up job on the head gasket, did head studs while we were in there, got the injectors balanced, and it was really cool to see their process on how they make things sweet and make the truck run really smooth. I'm really excited for in the winter months. It should start better, idle better in the cold, as well as make a little bit more horsepower, because while we were in there we threw 50 horse nozzles at it. So anyways, I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing me talk. Dave and Jesse should be here shortly, and we'll be knocking out the bumpers, winch, and lighting, and a few other things to get this thing finished up. I am so stoked.
What's up, dude?
I just showed up. I guess we're putting bumpers on?
Yeah, bumpers are going on, man.
Sweet.
You got the dream team.
What's going on, Cameron?
Thanks for your help, dog. This will be fun.
I came over to Cameron's house today. His truck's back from getting the head gasket done. Suspension and wheels and tires are all good. So now it's time to throw bumpers and a winch on this thing. We're doing like AEVs, which are super nice, but they're really complicated. There's like 100 boxes over there. All right, I'm gonna go and rip this front bumper off, and then I think Jesse's gonna start messing with the rear. I'm excited to see what they did for the rear, because that was like prototype for years, and they finally like actually have a production rear bumper for these trucks. It's gonna look sick. Alright, the stock bumper is off. That was kind of a hassle, but it's out of the way now, and we're just going to start putting the AEV bumper on the front of it. This thing is sort of like the crown jewel of the Dodge kits for these AEV deals. It's really cool. They're like, it's not hydroformed. This is actually like an eighth or 3/16 plate that's stamped in like a form. That's why it looks like a factory bumper. AEV does all kinds of like factory upgrades, and you can actually go to a dealership and order an AEV Ram truck, which is pretty cool. So they've been doing all sorts of like OE grade bumpers and upgrades for years, and Cam is pretty stoked to be putting this on the old Dodge right now. So pretty neat. The outer skin I think is 1/8 or 3/16. All the inside of it's 1/4 inch plate. It's all formed and like welded solid. The thing's a tank, so really cool. There's going to be some other neat features that go along with it, with like a cast tow hook that'll be going in here, and then a wing on the outside. And then we're throwing the come up winch in here. That is like a big old monster, like 16,000 pound winch, but it's got synthetic rope. So maybe we can lift this thing all together and put it on the truck in a second. Getting to my favorite part of the AEV bumper, and it's this cast iron or cast steel tow hook and skid mount space. I don't know what, there's probably a fancy name for it, but I call it the cast iron tow hook. So we're gonna go ahead and put these on the wings, the outer pieces, and runs hardware through, and then the whole thing will kind of go on here as a unit, and then we'll get to all the bolts and nuts through the inside window there. It's really come together. These things are rad. Food coma right now. We had burritos that were amazing, and we're back in the shop. So the bumper's in place and most of the bolts are kind of like snugged up. We just got the alignment all dialed with a floor jack and a chunk of wood, and it's time to like run all these main bolts home. So this thing is living where it's gonna live, and it looks awesome. Bumpers are done, so it's light bar time. Cam's big into light bars.
Yep, big light bar guy.
So that thing is going to live there, big old Baja Designs. That should look pretty good. And then I've got to figure out some sort of mock-up for the lights that are going in these pockets too.
Well, it's been a long few weeks trying to get this thing all buttoned up, and this single cab shirt turned out sweet, but I still think I like Dave's more.
What's up, dude?
Just came by to check out your rig.
Dude, it's done.
I got rid of my big red standard cab truck, and I got this little orange one. It's still cool though. Maybe not as cool as that. This project, where are we at on this thing?
Dude, this thing is like 94 years in the making. It took way longer to get parts and just work on it.
We started this project when it was going to be like Dave and Cameron were going to have big like AEV style pickup standard cabs, and we were going to go snowmobiling. And since then, we had spring and summer, and now we're getting into fall, and Cameron's is done, and my big red standard cab is long gone. I just sold it like a month ago. So now I'm like bumming because I don't have a rad standard cab to haul a snowmobile with, and winter's about here. So I guess we're just gonna like check out Cam's, see what all the little details are. I know we finished a ton of things on it as far as like making light mounts and getting the little bezels on and doing all sorts of widgets and gadgets and wiring. So I guess we'll find out how that all turned out. What's this thing do?
It's a door. I got stuff everywhere. I've been using it as a truck. I got oil and everything.
Cameron, you're supposed to detail this before I showed up.
I know,
This
I'm
is
sorry.
unacceptable.
It's being used as a truck.
It looks good. This thing, I can't get over how cool the color is and the style of it, and the fact that it's standard cab long bed is awesome. And I like the fact that Dodge Ram trucks have sword holders. I don't know if you've shown everybody, but if
Sword holder is sick.
if you get a standard cab Ram pickup, it comes with this weird like space to put whatever. It looks like some sort of prison shank would go there. Brad, what'd you finish up? What's going on? When
Yeah,
are we going
dude.
snowmobiling?
I mean, I tried to take like the last like 5% that nobody gets done. I finished the wiring on it. I had to get all these custom brackets made to mount all the lights up front.
Yeah.
You know, it took us forever to get the bumpers on, do the suspension, but yeah, just kind of that last, I feel like 5-10% on a build always takes forever.
Yep, that is true. That's why none of my stuff's ever finished. I get to that like 70% mark and I'm like, let somebody else do it because this is too time consuming. It looks good though. Is it driving well still?
Yeah, man, I have literally used this to haul big trailers to the dump, haul sleds, like crush dirt roads with a dirt bike in the back. Like it's literally been doing everything and getting like 18 to 20 miles to the gallon doing it.
I forgot you like had to rebuild the engine. In the
Yeah,
middle of this.
yeah.
Pain.
So
When you like knocked it out of the park on the engine work though?
yeah, no,
Pretty cool.
everything Dynamite did was awesome, and everything you and Jesse helped out with, and Pete, like it's all come together. This is kind of half baked on what I had in my mind.
It is awesome. It looks good. It's funny because it's like it's real easy to like see an AEV truck and be like, man, I want that, but I don't want to spend the initial money, so I'll just build my own. It's got to be easy. And
It's not.
8 months later,
Yeah.
we're like almost there. No,
Yeah.
it looks killer. You did a good job. I can't wait to see it out smashing some snowy roads this winter, hauling dirt bikes and a snowmobile, maybe a little Phaser 360 that I can borrow and slam on the back too.
Yep.
That'd be rad.
Dude, Ram project is done. Thank you so much for all the help.
It's not done.
At least done enough to where I can sleep at night and not
Yeah.
think about the next thing for now. So
I love it. I think it turned out great. It's like got all the right style. The only thing I would change, I'd get the 38 1350s for the tires instead of
True.
the 37 1250s. This truck isn't going to care if it's got 40s on it. Like, it just needs a little bit more on the tire size. Other than that, you knocked it out of the park. I mean, even with that, you knocked it out of the park. Pretty rad.
yeah.
I mean, I guess we just have to go jump it now, right?
Yep, let's do it.